Hello and welcome to the latest episode in PwC EMEA's Customer Transformation podcast series, and it's called Adapt and Reinvent the Future. Today's topic is technology as a key driver in customer transformation, and we'll be chatting about the role that technology plays in transformation and touching on some of the findings from our recent white paper, The Evolving Customer, Profile of a Winner. Joining us today to talk about this are Quinton Pienaar, who's the PwC EMEA Customer Transformation Leader, Sandra Prior Solis, who is the Consulting Leader and Technology Consulting Partner at PwC in Spain, Dominik Smith, who's the Head of Data Science at the Customer Team at PwC UK, and Megan Higgins, Director of the Customer Team at PwC UK. Welcome to all of you. Quinton, let's set the scene. One of the golden threads running through PwC's recent market winners research that highlights technology as a key driver of transformation for successful companies. Talk to us about the importance of technology in a transformation, and specifically how winners are using technology to differentiate themselves.
Thanks, Peter. As you know, in a modern business, technology is a core component of how we operate. Technology allows us to digitize the engagement we have with customers, and often differentiate the service that an organization can offer. You know, that could be through ongoing marketing and engagement campaigns, better understanding customer segmentation and preferences, through digitizing and creating efficiencies across process, etc. So there's a number of advantages that technology brings from a scale, as well as if I could call it, closeness to the end customer.
Thanks, Quinton. Sandra, let's turn over to you. What are the key benefits that an organization can expect to derive from using technology smartly in their transformation process?
So that's, I think, a very good question, Peter, and probably a tricky one, because I think there are many benefits, and I will try to summarize the main ones. But basically, first of all, facilitating the business strategy implementation and therefore the revenue growth increase and or cost savings. Thus, that technology can support an enterprise-wide transformation to produce value for business, customers, and the overall ecosystem, connecting the dots between the front and the back office and integrating functional and technical capabilities. From my perspective, when it comes to growth, technology must support M&A processes in terms of scalability and integrity. It should also improve decision-making in a fast-changing environment, and it should also accelerate the change and innovation with creativity. Moreover, technology can enhance customer understanding and experience through the customer journey, provide a more competitive set of products and services to our customers, generate data and improve their offer by creating key customer insights and acting upon the information. That's, at the end, for me, achieving a customer-centric transformation. Said that, from my perspective, is if an organization wants to take true advantage, it all has to do with using technology smartly. That is, basically, organizations must use the right technology at the right time for the right business processes, taking a special care on the business case that is behind the digital solution to be implemented, and also the maturity of the stakeholders to ensure the right adoption.
Great, thanks, Sandra. Let's turn to you, Megan. So, I mean, the conventional wisdom is the starting point for technology is always that, on top of everything that Sandra's just mentioned, is that, companies tend to focus in on using technology for saving money and driving efficiencies. How do you sell a client a vision, a broader set of use cases for technology in a transformation? How do you open their eyes to the bigger opportunities of technology?
So I think it's quite simple. Technology enables experience, and there's going to be multiple experiences across a customer journey, and therefore there'll be multiple technologies used across that customer journey. What technology does open up is we can't talk about customer transformation and experience without talking about data. So technology enables you to collect and use data. And, I think we'll probably talk shortly about artificial intelligence and machine learning and Internet of Things. But if you bring all of those pieces together, that drives an end-to-end customer experience, but it means it's a demographic experience. So the customer is able to choose how they engage, and therefore you should be able to engage with the many as opposed to just the few, but you can also engage with them on a one-to-many basis or a one-to-few basis through leveraging different technologies. So I think the opportunity for not just cost savings, but driving revenue, driving advocacy and loyalty, that's where the sell is quite obvious to clients, I think.
Dominik, let's shift over to you. Now, the PwC's research findings call out 5G, the Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence as the three main technologies that are changing the game in a transformation. Talk to us briefly about the value that each one of those brings to an organization, both through the transformation and then beyond.
Yeah, sure. So thinking about these three is almost separately is almost a kind of missing some of the value. I think the three together is really where a lot of that value comes from. Now, the way I think about this, you can achieve major performance enhancement from effective use of data. And for a lot of companies, using data effectively in this way across multiple online and offline touch points is quite a new challenge. I'd say if we think about the AI point first, data science techniques can be used to understand complex problems and inform strategic decision making. So that's one possibility, really getting under the skin of difficult problems and using models to answer those kinds of questions, right the way through to problems that involve directly making decisions to help improve customer experience. So things like making recommendations of product, what kind of promotions to offer and when, and also making sites and apps more accessible. Well, all of these things come at some degree of computational cost. So having the ability to send data around at low latency and high bandwidth is really important, and especially in an interconnected world, I think 5G really contributes to that. And then if we think about really the lifeblood of all of these models and decision-making processes, that's data, and IoT really is able to provide information from all kinds of sources, including your physical and non-physical assets, to supply those models and really improve customer experience in this way.
Let's stay with you for a moment, Dominik. Now, most businesses today have some form of cloud-based technology with a mix of the technologies that you've just described to a lesser or greater degree. What other approaches are you seeing or do you recommend to your clients to make a real difference in a digital transformation journey? What really adds value at that moment?
Right. I think when I see, obviously the cloud-based technologies are providing massive advantages over hardware in-house hardware that needs kind of complex maintenance and so on. And a lot of the services that are provided by the cloud providers are extremely valuable and kind of move you along much further down the technology path than I think non-specialist companies could achieve. But the area that's kind of also in significant growth is doing more computation, what we call on the edge, which means on the device itself, applying things like advanced machine learning models for things like machine translation, natural language processing, computer vision, right on the device itself. So the model is actually acting on the hardware that is in your hand. And that's kind of important to a lot of users from the point of view of privacy in some cases and not sharing data with cloud providers, but also provides the low latency and high performance.
I'm glad you mentioned edge computing. Megan, if I can shift this over to you. We're hearing a lot of emerging tech trends, quantum computing and edge computing and virtual and augmented reality and blockchain even. Are these still in the realm of buzzwords and hype, or are organizations actually using them to drive real business value right now?
I think there will always be, in the area that we work in, buzzwords and hype. And I hope that there is, because it'll give us something to laugh about and pick apart. Some of it is buzzwords, yes, absolutely. There are definitely use cases of clients using, blockchain successfully, as an example. We tend to not focus on the technology and the buzzwords, but we focus on the use case and the outcome. And what question are we trying to answer? And therefore, what is the most suitable technology to help answer that question? And we need to then add to that equation, what's the most scalable? What's the most cost effective? As Don's mentioned, there's some fantastic edge computing or even other, machine learning models, but they're hugely computationally expensive. So that's not going to satisfy, some of the use cases. So I think there are a lot of buzzwords that people go after. Our advice is always to bring it back to what is the use case, what is the question you're trying to answer, what is the outcome, and therefore how is that? And that is where you should also start. And that is the crux of customer transformation, is to be truly customer-led. And if that technology is not getting you a customer benefit, then you probably shouldn't be using it.
Sandra, one more question for you. If you look at your markets right now, are companies in general, in your view, making the most of technology at this fairly volatile time? And if not, what do you think they need to be doing differently? And what are you advising your clients right now?
Yeah, so this is also a very interesting question, because and I can speak basically about the Spanish market. So what we are seeing is that the current situation has accelerated a lot the use of technology, which is really amazing, because we sometimes are kind of worried about how to adopt technology, and we've seen our clients kind of going very, very fast in adopting new technologies, for example, to work remotely. So what we are seeing is that there is, in fact, a huge need from our customers to understand how they can use technology in order to ensure that they approach their customers, that they open new channels, that they are able to enhance the customer experience, how they can understand better the customers, and then provide more specific solutions and gain in brand, gain in use, gain in everything. And also another big question that we are receiving from our customers is how we can innovate from a digital perspective. So as far as I understand, most of the companies usually innovate their products, and they are used to innovate. They know how to do this. But when it comes, or you need to innovate through technology, it's not that easy. I think that the market has a challenge in terms of talent and capabilities, at least, as I said, in Spain, but I think it's kind of global. And because of that, they are a little bit kind of how we can really ensure that we are able to innovate and create digital assets to our clients quickly enough to ensure that we are a fast mover, from a client perspective.
Fantastic. Quinton, a final one for you. If you have one message to companies that are going through transformations right now around the use of technology, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I think start with the customer in mind and the outcome that you're trying to achieve, and design the experience so that the technology nearly becomes invisible. Because I think it's that when technology is frictionless and you don't notice it, I think it's delivering on the customer experiences that your customers generally want, and B, fulfilling the business objective. So I think it's all about the design, bringing good design in, and starting with and thinking about that customer outcome.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for joining us, all of you. And till next time, goodbye.